And look, Megan Rapinoe and Sue Bird platformed this person yesterday who blatantly went out there and spewed a bunch of BS about Caitlin Clark fans. Simply put. And now, Sue Bird, as part of that same conversation, another clip has emerged. And these people are out there, you're literally saying things that are factually incorrect.
Sue Bird just made a decision that should alarm every basketball fan in America. As the managing director of USA Basketbal, she now holds the power to determine who represents the country on the international stage. Yesterday, she chose to give a platform to Katie Nolan, a media personality who has been dismissed from ESPN, Fox Sports, and NBC Sports, to attack Caitlin Clark's fan base with demonstrably false claims. The clip from their discussion reveals something deeper than poor judgment. It exposes a fundamental misunderstanding of sports fandom and raises serious concerns about whether personal bias might influence future Team USA selections.
People mostly that exist online, it wasn't love a player, love Caitlin, love whoever you want to love. But it was simultaneously they had to then say that every player that ever came before was trash.
No. That is not correct. That's not a thing. Sure, do you probably have an outlier group of people that are out there feeling that way? Sure. This is what these people don't understand. You people.
Let's be clear about what Sue Bird actually said in that conversation. She claimed that a large portion of Caitlin Clark's fans simultaneously adored their player, while labeling every previous WNBA player as trash. That was her exact framing. Every player who came before was trash. The problem is this claim isn't backed by any broad evidence. Yes, isolated negative comments exist online. Every fan base has them. LeBron fans who trash Michael Jordan. Tom Brady fans who dismiss Joe Montana. That's part of sports discourse on social media. But Bird wasn't talking about outliers. She presented this as a widespread trait defining the modern WNBA audience, which is fundamentally misleading.
Josh Allen and Tom Brady are trash. Those fans exist, right? Here's the thing. Nobody thought the players that came before them were trash. No fans came into this league and thought that. What fans did think was, we don't really care about those players. We don't. We should not have to come into a league to consume its product and these people be angry at us because we don't want to go through some fandom checklist. Here's why they don't we're indifferent to the previous players. We simply don't care. We don't care.
Fans who think Josh Allen or Tom Brady are trash. Sure, they exist. But no one genuinely believes past players were worthless. What fans feel is indifference. They don't feel obligated to study every past star before enjoying the league's current product. They're indifferent, not hateful. Sue Bird, knowingly or not, conflates this indifference with contempt because acknowledging it is less convenient. Millions of new WNBA viewers never thought Diana Taurasi was trash. They just didn't think about her at all. They weren't focused on Breanna Stewart's championships or the league's historical highlights, and that's completely normal. NBA fans do the same thing. Millions watched Michael Jordan in the 90s without caring about Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Entire generations followed LeBron James without knowing three Celtics legends. Steph Curry's fans didn't need a Jerry West history lesson before enjoying the Warriors. Sports fandom doesn't work like a mandatory exam. You can enjoy the present without memorizing the past.
That doesn't mean we think that some player is trash. We are simply indifferent to them. Diana Taurasi's trash. No, I am fully aware Diana Taurasi is one of the greatest women's basketball players of all time. And even before I came in to watch and consume, I heard her name. I would see some highlights on ESPN, on SportsCenter, back when SportsCenter was good. and was still consumable, etc. I just simply was so indifferent to her and this league that I chose not to consume it. And that's okay. That is fine. That doesn't make anybody...
But here's why this issue goes beyond misunderstanding fan behavior. Sue Bird isn't a random commentator on a podcast. She's the managing director of USA Basketbal. She has direct influence over which players represent the United States internationally. Yet she publicly suggested that fans who came to the WNBA for Caitlin Clark, without first studying the league's history, are somehow problematic. She's framing normal sports consumption as disrespectful behavior that needs policing. Think about the consequences. If Bird genuinely believes Clark's fanbase disrespects past players, how might that perception influence her assessment of Clark? Does she see Clark as responsible for this alleged disrespect? Does she hold Clark accountable for educating fans about WNBA history? These aren't hypothetical concerns. When someone in Bird's position spreads false narratives about a player's fan base, it raises real questions about bias and fair decision-making.
You guys are simply angry because nobody cares to go back and take in your catalog. Office Space, Michael Bolton. We have celebrated his entire catalog. The WNBA, we don't celebrate their entire catalog. Sorry, we don't. Even now, I'm sorry, I'm not watching any team play that's not the Indiana Fever. Do you know how many NBA fans only watched Michael Jordan? Only watched Magic Johnson, only watched Larry Bird? That was a thing. Even when I was a huge NBA fan, do you think I was going out of my way to watch Sacramento Kings games? You're shitting me, right?
The recurring catalog comparison in these debates is especially telling. Sue Bird and others in the WNBA establishment seem genuinely frustrated that new fans aren't revisiting old games, celebrating the league's full history, or treating past stars with the reverence they feel is deserved. But that frustration is misplaced. Sports fans have never operated that way. When someone discovers a band through a new album, the band doesn't get upset that the listener didn't start with their first record. They welcome the new fan and hope to keep them engaged. The WNBA had 27 years to build a sustainable audience before Caitlin Clark arrived. Those years produced legendary players, memorable moments, and real championships. But they didn't generate the viewership needed for financial stability. The 2023 WNBA Finals averaged fewer than 900,000 viewers per game. That's not a critique of the quality of play. It's a reality check on consumer interest. Then Caitlin Clark's rookie season hits, and suddenly games draw over 2 million viewers, attendance records are broken, merchandise sales soar, and national media coverage skyrockets.
Fans are simply indifferent to past players. We simply do not care. If you think that's hate, that's your problem. That's a you issue. Because we simply don't care. We're not going back and consuming it. I'm sure you got a few fans that want to do that. Came in and thought this was the greatest league ever after not ever watching it. Sorry, no. It's not. In fact, in a lot of these games, there's some really bad basketball being played right now in this league. That at times is nearly unwatchable. Okay, I mean, that's fine to say out loud. It doesn't make me a son of a bitch. It doesn't. Sorry, not sorry. I mean, and to go out there, you're the what, managing director or...
Instead of seeing this as the commercial breakthrough the league desperately needed, figures like Sue Bird are interrogating new fans' motives, questioning their authenticity, and accusing them of disrespect. It's a dramatic misreading of the moment. These viewers owe the WNBA nothing. They aren't required to appreciate its history or learn about players they never had the chance to watch. They arrive because one player captivated their attention. The league's goal should be to engage them, not lecture them on 3 decades of content. The comparison to other sports is revealing. When Tiger Woods brought millions of fans to golf in the late 90s, the PGA Tour didn't demand they study Jack Nicklaus first. When the Williams sisters revolutionized women's tennis, new fans weren't required to watch Martina Navratilova highlights. Established figures in those sports understood that star power drives interest, interest drives revenue, and revenue sustains the ecosystem. The WNBA appears uniquely resistant to acknowledging this basic principle of sports economics.
It is frightening to me that you are going to make decisions potentially about who's representing our country in Team USA. All because you don't like the fact that we don't want to consume your agenda. And we all know what I'm talking about. No, I'm not going to consume your agenda. And we don't have to. I mean, that's baffling to me. They continue to want to tell fans how to be fans. And I got to be honest, at this point, you're not going to convince me there's not an anti-Caitlin Clark bias going on with people like Sue Bird now. Sorry, Sue Bird. Congratulations.
What makes Sue Bird's comments especially concerning is the context. These weren't private remarks. She chose to speak publicly on Katie Nolan's platform, a media figure known for failed ventures and provocative commentary. That was a deliberate choice. Bird wanted this message disseminated, that Caitlin Clark's fanbase is somehow problematic. And she made this statement while holding direct authority over USA basketball selections. Consider the implications for the next international roster. If Clark is excluded, or included but given limited minutes, fans will inevitably question whether bias influenced those decisions. Even if coaching choices are based on strategy or performance, Bird's public comments have created a lens of perceived bias that cannot easily be ignored.
Just chose not to go back and consume. And that is okay. Sports fans, that is okay. That doesn't make you a bigot or a racist or a phobe or an ism or none of that mother effing BS that I've been fighting against for 5.5 effing years. God, you actually are going to be making decisions about who is...
This situation demonstrates what happens when personal opinions bleed into professional duties. Sue Bird has every right to her frustrations about fandom, but publicly expressing them as USA Basketball's managing director undermines the integrity of player selections. Her remarks reveal a disconnect between her perception of WNBA growth and how it actually happened. She seems to think new fans are obligated to honor past stars like Diana Taurasi and Breanna Stewart, or they lack legitimacy. But consumer behavior in entertainment, including sports, works differently. Netflix doesn't require viewers to watch an entire back catalog before enjoying a hit series. Record labels don't demand fans study previous albums before streaming a viral song. Entertainment succeeds by meeting audiences where they are, not by enforcing arbitrary historical knowledge standards. The WNBA struggled to cultivate a sustainable audience for decades, and Caitlin Clark's arrival changed that dramatically. Her 2024 college championship game drew 18.7 million viewers, the most watched basketball game in 5 years. Her WNBA debut brought 2.1 million viewers to ESPN, while Indiana Fever games averaged over 1.2 million compared to historical averages near 400,000. New viewers discovered talent, competition, and drama, but also inconsistencies, slow pace, and officiating gaps. That's not disrespect, it's honest assessment. Sue Bird's characterization of Clark's fanbase as thinking past players were trash ignores the real criticism. Fans were reacting to inconsistent league treatment of Clark, from physical targeting by opponents to uneven officiating. This isn't speculation, it's observable reality. Multiple analysts, including former players, noted that Caitlin Clark was being defended more physically than a typical rookie. The league's own decision to issue points of emphasis to officials about illegal screens and excessive physicality, following weeks of complaints about Clark's treatment, implicitly acknowledged that officiating had been inconsistent. So when Sue Bird claims that Clark's fans are the problem, that they're disrespecting the league's history or creating toxicity, she's overlooking the legitimate grievances driving fan frustration. New viewers didn't arrive with pre-existing biases against WNBA players. They came to watch Clark and found the league's response often defensive, sometimes hostile, and occasionally protective of those targeting her physically. That's a league problem, not a fan problem. Yet it's easier to blame fans than confront cultural issues exposed by Clark's arrival. The comparison to other leagues is instructive. When LeBron James entered the NBA in 2003, the league didn't allow veterans to physically dominate him as some initiation ritual. Officials protected him. Understanding his star power benefited everyone. When Sidney Crosby joined the NHL in 2005, rule changes highlighted skilled players like him. Star-driven entertainment drives growth. The WNBA could have done the same with Clark, but instead, portions of the league establishment, including apparently Sue Bird, focused more on policing fan behavior and protecting the old guard than leveraging a transformational commercial opportunity. There's also a subtext in many criticisms of Clark's fan base. Repeated questions about "you people" and suggestions that fans are motivated by something beyond basketball reveal assumptions about who these fans are and why they watch. That assumption is unproven and irrelevant. Even if some fans are motivated by factors outside pure basketball appreciation, sports fandom has always been tribal, identity-driven, and sometimes irrational. People support teams for geography, family tradition, or even childhood nostalgia. Fan motivations are diverse and rarely correlate with objective assessment of athletic quality. That's not a flaw. It's a feature of sports fandom. It's a feature, and the WNBA can't suddenly demand higher standards of motivational purity than any other sport. Sue Bird's role as USA Basketball's managing director elevates her comments about Clark's fanbase beyond mere hot takes. She now holds real authority in decisions about roster construction, playing time, and strategic priorities for the national team. Yet she has publicly suggested that the fan base of the WNBA's biggest star is problematic, that they disrespect league history, and that their approach to fandom is illegitimate. How is anyone supposed to trust that her views won't influence her professional judgment? The usual defense is that Bird can separate personal opinions from her official duties, but that argument fails. First, she chose to make her views public while holding a USA Basketball role. If impartiality were truly the priority, she wouldn't have used such a platform. Second, unconscious bias operates automatically. Negative perceptions about a player's fans inevitably color views of the player herself, even if objectivity is attempted. Third, the appearance of impartiality is critical. USA Basketball's credibility depends on the belief that selections are based solely on merit. Bird's public comments compromise that perception. Regardless of whether her opinions actually influence player evaluations, the perception of bias will persist in an environment where Clark's every decision is scrutinized. So where does this leave us? Sue Bird, a WNBA legend and four-time Olympic gold medalist, has used her platform to spread demonstrably false narratives about new fans, mischaracterizing normal sports consumption as disrespectful and ignoring legitimate concerns about Clark's treatment. She has done all this while holding direct influence over USA Basketball selections. The integrity of the process now relies on trusting that she can completely separate publicly stated views from professional judgment, a level of trust she has not yet earned. The WNBA had a choice.